But you see, you can make it simple. You don't have to make it overwhelming. And that's the beauty about marketing, but that's the beauty about marketing strategy.
Hello and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today. Today is going to be a phenomenal day because I have such a phenomenal guest with me here today. I have been dying to bring Minal Sampat to you for months now. I've been so excited about this day. So I'm so happy for you to meet her. She's a best-selling author of an amazing book called Why Your Marketing is Killing Your Business. So you know where we're going with this today. She's an incredible speaker, marketing strategist, social media coach. She is a dental hygienist as well. So she's very familiar with the dental world and apparently is an enthusiastic shoe lover, which I'd love to know more about. Manal was born in India, grew up in St. Thomas, lives in Washington, but she's going to New Zealand next week. So she is a traveler extraordinaire. And I'm just so excited for her to bring some of her acumen here for us today about marketing, the overwhelm of marketing that us small business owners can feel, and also give us some of her incredible insight and opportunity to work with her as the marketologist, Minal Sampat. So welcome, Minal.
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be here, and I'm so excited to chat all the things about marketing.
I know. Well, I would ordinarily love to talk about all your traveling right off the bat, but I'm intrigued about the shoe enthusiasm. So here's my question. This is demanding minds need to know. Comfortable, elegant shoe you can stand in all day. What's your go-to?
Valentino's.
Ooh. I was going for Dr. Scholl's.
Listen,
I'm writing down Valentino's. Okay, my love.
I do not discriminate against any shoe. I always say that. I love all shoes. I tell my husband shoes were my first love. My mom has stories. My mom knows the exact moment I fell in love with shoes, and she describes it every family gathering that we get together.
Oh, can you share that story with us? What was that?
Well, apparently I was 5 years old, and we went shopping. And this is me as a 5-year-old child, and I was always a very good, well-behaved, nice kid. But we went to the shoe store, and there were these white sandals for little girls like me, like white sandals. They were open toes. They had a little buckle on the top, and then the white sandal had three little flowers on it. They were like pink, yellow, and purple. And I saw those shoes and told my mom I need those shoes. And she's like, "Well, you don't need shoes. You're 5 and you're okay. Like you don't need shoes." And apparently she realized I was in love with it because I threw a tantrum. I started rolling around on the floor. I started telling her that I need those shoes in my life and I don't know what I would do if I can't get those shoes. And it became this whole entire thing. And she, being a good parent that she's like, "Well, I'm not going to give you something for a tantrum." Like, okay, even if I was going to buy it, you throwing a tantrum does not deserve this. My parents are strict parents. So I didn't get the shoes, and then I went back home, and then I cried to my dad, and I cried to my uncle, and then I cried to my another uncle, and I kept literally talking about these pair of shoes to every single person that I could find who could possibly buy me this pair of shoes because I needed them in my life. And then eventually one of my uncles who you always have a favorite aunt or an uncle. My favorite uncle just went and just bought the shoes for me, but my mom was like, "That's when I knew how stubborn you are and how much you want something when you fall in love with it," because she's just like, you will not give up about it. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I joke with my husband. The way my husband pretty much proposed to me was the third bedroom could be your shoe closet. So
Oh.
it's just
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, I wrote down Valentino's here on my piece of paper. I will definitely have to seek those out. So,
and also
yes.
Toms. Toms are awesome. I love Toms, and plus you're giving to charity every time you
Yes.
buy a pair of Toms. So I go back and forth between. I have all the brands. I don't
Between
know.
Valentino's and Tom's.
Yeah. Why the hell not?
I love it. I love it. So, you have such incredible resources, and we're putting all of your resources in the show notes, and people can look these up, and especially your awesome book. But you also offer these incredible retreats in fabulous places like Turks and Caicos, and you're speaking to dentists about marketing. What got you so fascinated about marketing? What is it about marketing that has stuck with you? You were a hygienist. I know you kind of took a left turn there, but why marketing? What is the passion and the desire about marketing for you?
Actually, I have the opposite story. I
Ooh.
was in marketing before I got into hygiene. I only got into hygiene to understand marketing from a patient's perspective, to understand communication. So, to be honest with you, usually you have hygienists who took a detour. I was never, hygiene was my detour. And I only ever practiced 2 times a week because it was always marketing. So, I have a degree in communication, which is marketing and PR and speaking and all of that, and biology. So pretty much I studied that, and I was going back and forth between, I was a pre-dental student with a major in communication.
That's right.
And yeah, so it was a fantastic journey. I've been in love with marketing since I was very young. I grew up in St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands. And if people, I'm sure the listeners here may have been to St. Thomas because it's a very popular tourist spot with cruise ships. My parents still live there. My family still live there. My last event last year, I did it in summer, was in St. Thomas. And if they remember, in St. Thomas, there's a street called Main Street. Now, here's a main street. The entire street is filled jewelry stores, the entire street, right?
Hmm.
So my parents decided that they are going to open a jewelry store in St. Thomas, which, imagine it this way. Let's just say that you were a dental practice and you were doing your demographic research and you're going to open up a new practice. Will you open up a new practice on the same street where you have dentists on the left, dentists on the right, dentists in front of you, and dentists behind you? No, right? You won't. I mean, what crazy person does that? Imagine the competition. Like, who's going?
Yeah.
And these are all independently owned. Well, my parents are crazy people. And they decided to open a jewelry store on the same street that sells all the jewelry. And their competition, and this is still there, is literally on the left, on the right, in front, and behind. They're sharing walls with their competition. They're sharing the entire road with their competition. And here's the thing, they're still doing just fine. So where does that come from, right? Where does that foundation come from? So for me, I was always fascinated with communication, with human behavior, with psychology, with how do people sell, how people buy, what attracts them, what builds trust, how do you provide the best customer service. So,
Yeah.
since I was a child, it's been a part of me. So I studied it, and then I had a wonderful dental practice. Um, well, so I am East Indian, and some stereotypes are correct. We don't have a choice either to become a doctor, a business owner, or an engineer. There is nothing in between. So this is me calling my East Indian father, telling him that, hey, Dad, I know I'm pre-dental and I've studied all this and I've took my DATs and I know I have my applications ready for dental school, but I really want to go into marketing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a doctor, Dad. And that
Yeah.
clearly he had a mini heart attack. Jokingly, but he's like, well, then you better figure out what you're going to do with life. And I graduated in 2008. If anybody remembers 2008, it was not a good time to graduate.
Nope, especially not in the business world, in the marketing and business world, yeah.
Yeah, right. So here
Mm,
I am coming out with degrees, and I'm like, hi,
mm.
looking for work, need to pay rent, got to figure this out. And this dentist that I had shadowed while I was in college, I went to Rutgers. They have an awesome practice in New Jersey, pediatric orthodontic practice, 25,000 patients. And I had shadowed them and they'd offered me a job while I was in college, but I was already working 2 jobs. And I didn't have a car. So I called them up and I said, hey, remember me? I shadowed you 2 years ago. You offered me a job. I couldn't take it then. I need to pay rent. I need a job. Still here. Now I have degrees in my hand. I'm not just a college kid. And, they're like, well, it's the recession. I mean, we got 60 people working here and, we're not looking to hire. The office manager tells me on the phone, but she's like, come on in at noon, come on in and, meet the doctors. Now I'm like, networking opportunity, right? You never
Yes.
say no. You
Wow.
never. So I showed up. The next thing I know, they're interviewing me. The next thing I know, the owner of the practice comes in. Um, and he comes in and he says, well, we have no idea what you're going to do here, but we just like you. So we're just going to hire you and we'll just figure out where you fit in. So they literally trained me, the front desk, I was in the scheduling, insurance, you know, I was doing in the back, I was helping out in the lab, I was a floater. And then clearly I took over the marketing because
Yeah,
I
that
loved
was
it.
your
I
love.
studied it.
Mm.
And then one thing led to another, and things were getting great. And yeah, that's how my career started. A long story, but interesting story because it's the opposite of what you usually hear from hygienist.
Absolutely. I love that story. And what a great, I love that perspective as well, is whenever you have an opportunity like that, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You go to the interview. Now, what do you think? You had that incredible opportunity in that office, and then I know you had a lot of success marketing for them, and you've worked with so many dentists over the decades. What is the biggest mistake that dentists make in terms of marketing?
The shiny object syndrome.
Mm.
We all have that. We all get excited. We want the newest thing. Out of a sudden, you would go somewhere, and now somebody's telling, I love when I hear the people, why are you not doing funnels? What is wrong with you? You must do funnels. Or why are you not on social media? You must do social media. Now, I'm a social media coach, but I will tell you flat out that I have practices who thrive and get new patients from social media. I'm also a marketing strategist, and I have practices who are literally producing in the top 5 percentile, and they don't do any social media, right?
Mm.
There is no such thing as I have to do this. All marketing works and all marketing does not work.
Ah,
You have to figure out which marketing is the right fit for you. Like all shoes, like I said, I don't discriminate against shoes. All shoes work. You can wear any pair of shoes and you can walk in them. It's okay. You could spend $10 for shoes. You can spend 2 grand for shoes, right? The same thing. They all make sure that you can walk in it. Now, clearly, some are better than the others and all that stuff. So even with marketing, the biggest issue that I have is I will get some, like example, I had a dental practice call me this morning, and they want to get on TikTok. TikTok is, it's happening, it's prominent, everybody's talking about TikTok, and I have practices on TikTok who are doing amazing, and they're brilliant. And the TikTok coach that I have is a dental assistant herself who has,
ah,
she has over 100,000 followers, and she's amazing, and she does the TikTok trainings. But I called these people and I said, That's amazing. We can definitely talk about TikTok, but why TikTok?" They're like, "Well, we just figured that that's where we need to be." But I'm like, "You're not on Facebook. You're not on Instagram. You want to be on TikTok, but the population that you're seeing are the seniors because they're a heavy implant cosmetic practice. So they're not really on TikTok, but you also hate doing videos." Because they told me that. They're like, "We hate doing videos." So I'm like, okay, so TikTok is a video platform, and we can definitely work through it. We can work through the baby steps with it. But realistically,
mm,
will you be doing videos? And they're like, maybe once a month. And I'm like, well, you need one day a video, right? Because TikTok is a video platform. So it's kind of walking through those steps and then also realizing, how am I going to convert? I mean, TikTok is a great revenue stream for a lot. It's not for many, you know?
mm.
So you have to figure out what you're one comfortable with, and also you have to figure out where your audience is. So if somebody called me and said, "Hey, I'm a pedo practice, or I'm an ortho practice, or listen, I'm trying to get in a lot of Gen Zs, I'm trying to get to millennials," and I'll be like, "Great, let's get you into TikTok."
Yeah.
But if you're coming to me saying, "I have a lot of big implant cases, my age group that I serve is 50 and above," and then I'm like, well, there are other platforms and other marketing that you can do to bring those people in. You don't necessarily have to force yourself to do a TikTok if you don't want to.
Hey guys, I'm interrupting your podcast episode to let you know about an incredible new program that I'm launching in January of 2023. It is specifically for practitioners in medicine and dentistry to help you rediscover happiness and inner fulfillment within your profession and your life. I remember what it was like for me when years ago I was so depressed and anxious and feeling like I had created and built a treadmill I just couldn't get off of, pushing through every day and wishing my life away. This program is the how of how to find happiness in your practice and in your life. Because we know that when we feel good, that's when we can do good. Check out thebizofhappiness.com/radical happiness, or click the link in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you there. You bring up a really good point. And, from a framework from happiness, when you're talking to somebody who says, I don't want to do a video maybe once a month, I'm hearing the undertones there of this sounds and feels overwhelming. Like I think the shiny object syndrome, totally. You see something, you think, well, that's the thing I'm not doing, right? There's a little bit of comparison there. It's also the feeling of there's a silver bullet that's going to get me there. And then there's the sudden undertone of, oh man, but this feels super overwhelming because I'm not interested in it at all. There's no joy in it for me. There's no happiness in it for me. I'm just going after it because it's the thing that must be the silver bullet. And so I wonder, how do you support your clients when they're in terms of the overwhelm of marketing strategy?
I think strategy, the best kind of strategy is simplified.
Yeah.
And it has to be something that you can easily do, right? It can't be something um, that you look at and you already feel a dread. You already look at it and I'm like, oh my God, there is so much I need to get done. This is crazy. So I always like to simplify it. And I like to kind of align it with what's happening in your life. So one of the first things I always get is, Minal, we just don't have time. Um, let's say for patient appreciation months. And I said, okay, I get it. Patient appreciation, everybody wants to do it, but everybody falls behind on doing it. They just simply don't have time. So then you can just figure out a system, because you live in a world now that is so tech heavy. You could figure out a system on keeping it simple. So for example, here is something that you could do. So let's just say that you have patients coming in. You could have something on there, and usually when when you take photos of patients, you have to also do a HIPAA form, right? They have to sign in,
Mhm.
and you always want to get permission for photos and things like that. But let's say you create some kind of a contest and you keep it very simple and easy, and say, hey guys, we are going to give a $150 Amazon gift card to all of our wonderful patients. We're going to do a raffle, one gift card, and we're going to raffle it off. And the way that you're going to enter into it is a very simple thing. If you're here, if you love us, if you're coming to the appointment, take a photo, just post it on social, and make sure you tag us.
Mm.
And once you tag us, we'll know that you tagged us, and then you'll automatically get into the raffle to win a $150 gift card. Now they are the ones taking the photo. They are the ones posting it on their own wall, correct? They are the ones who are pushing it out there. And now you're getting in front of their family and friends, which is what you want to begin with.
Yes.
And now they're tagging you, and it's a simple thing. You don't have to worry about somebody trying to get that photo, somebody trying to do whatever, because they are doing it for you. You're incentivizing them. Yeah, there's a contest, a prize, a something fun or the other. But you see, you can make it simple. You don't have to make it overwhelming. And that's the beauty about marketing, but that's the beauty about marketing strategy. And I think people sometimes get confused with marketing and marketing strategy, and saying marketing is, we need to get people out to share stuff on social media, or I need to get photos. Marketing strategy is, how do I do that to maximize it and leverage it?
Love it. I love it. And that feels a lot more doable than an entire month of a new campaign where everybody's job description changes for a month in the office.
Correct.
And that feels exhausting
Correct.
and not sustainable either. Once you have that month, you think, oh, I'll do this again next year. And then you let it fall. I think the other thing I love about that is one of the concerns I hear from dentists in particular is we don't want to bother people. We don't want to be in your face. We don't want to be asking you to do things you don't want to do. And that's very permissive. You don't have to do it. It's just for a fun competition.
It's a fun patient appreciation. Hey, it's a fun thing, and but you want to make sure that you make it as big as possible, right? You want to make sure that if somebody comes in, they can see it, get a big banner out, see what you're doing. Have something that they can take a photo with. Make it easy. Like when you and I go to a beautiful restaurant and there's a great backdrop, we organically go to the backdrop and take a photo, because it's
Yeah.
a fun thing to do. So you make it easy for them to participate, and then let them take it, let them participate, right? And here's another tip that I can give. There are so many. We can talk about this for a week, but here's an easy one that I would want the followers to do it now, because it's so easy, it's so simple, and it will 100% change your conversion rates. Okay, so it takes less than 5 minutes. So here's what it is, right? When you go to a website, and on that website, you have the About Us page. Everyone has that. I'm sure all of our listeners have that. When you look at your numbers, you will understand that most of the potential patients or patients go to your website, the homepage, then they go to the About Us page because they want to
Mm.
get to know you.
Mhm.
That's a normal thing. And most of the time, when you go to the About Us page, this is how it looks. There's a photo of the doctor. Usually they've crossed their hands. There's a little thing, and they have a little side smile, right? Something like that, professional. Maybe some in a white coat, maybe some, just a regular photo. And then right next to it is their bio, and their bio starts with something like where they grew up, where they went to school, all the accolades they have, the organizations they belong to,
Yep.
and then at the bottom, there's a one liner saying, in his free time, Dr. X, Y, and Z loves to ski. Isn't that
Absolutely. You
literally the
just
buy for everything,
literally, for
right?
most, yes.
Now that's marketing. Marketing is we need to have a website with an About Us page.
Mhm.
Let's switch it to marketing strategy. Here's marketing strategy. Now, let's just say that you were to go to a website where I was working there and you go to the About Us page. Instead of that photo and those things, here's a video of me, just simple like this, sitting in my my zone, nothing crazy, nothing that requires a lot of money, literally my phone. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, hi, my name is Minal Sampat. I am so humbled and honored to work at this amazing pediatric X, Y, and Z practice. I was born in India and I grew up in St. Thomas, US Virgin Islands. One of my favorite things to do is to laugh. I have that big belly laugh that when I laugh, you could just hear it from the other room. But you see, when I'm looking at photos of me growing up in India, I'm not laughing big or smiling because I was ashamed. I was ashamed of the black spots on my teeth. Today, I am a pediatric dental hygienist because I don't want any child to feel like they cannot laugh loud and smile big. I look forward to meeting you and your family,
Ah,
right? And thus underneath it is bullet point of where I went to school and
yeah.
my a bullet point of my accolades.
Yeah.
Now, which do you think connects with the potential patient more? The one that is the same, or the video of me that is literally less than 30 seconds? That
Mhm.
still covers everything, but the video
Mhm.
has my why. And the why is coming from me. So you hear me, you hear my emotions, you hear my laughter, you see my face compared to a written word that somebody else could write for you.
Beautiful. And it's also that creating that relationship with you, which is when people want to buy and especially be treated by somebody they trust. And it's that
100%.
that relationship makes everything, makes all the difference. Yeah.
So, everybody, all the listeners, I know you have your website. I want you to go in, don't overthink it. And I just want you to answer where you grew up, like I said, and then go into the why. Why are you a dentist? I'm sure
Beautiful.
it wasn't something that was, and keep it simple, like 3 lines. Hey, you know what? I grew up, I had the best orthodontist growing up. Or, when I was a child, I was afraid of the dentist, but the dentist I went to was amazing. Or, my father was a dentist and this is why I am a dentist, or my mother was a dentist. Get into it. Or, I just love to provide beautiful smiles. When I was in college, I just loved it. Or, when I went to dental school, it changed who I was a human. There is a why you do this.
Mhm. Mhm.
So just have those 2 liners and that's it, and just end it. And you'll be surprised. And then just put that video on YouTube, put it on your website, less than 30 seconds, and your conversions will actually start happening because people will get to know you.
Before they even walk in the door. Yeah.
Hmm.
Really cool. Oh, that was amazing. Thank you. Oh my gosh. So exciting to imagine all these great tidbits that you offer in your workshops and in your retreats. I can only imagine the value there. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do. I'm so grateful that you shared a little bit of your expertise with us. For those of my listeners who are driving right now and not able to look in the show notes, how can we find you and more of your resources, Manal?
Sure. So minalsampat.com, MINALSAMPAT.com is my website. My event in Turks and Caicos is happening this summer in July. So the good thing and the bad thing. So the bad thing is, Turks and Caicos is a beautiful location, and we are going over so much of business and marketing growth in there. So I opened it up for 2 days. July 13th and 14th got sold out 7 months in
Yeah.
advance. So that's the bad thing. But the good thing is I was able to talk to the resort, and now we actually have July 15th. So I just opened up July 15th. So then more practice is good again, because I had so many people reach out saying, oh no, we missed out. We didn't get to register yet. And I'm like, so I was able to work into that. But Yeah, it's in Turks and Caicos, in on Grace Bay Beach, which is the best beach in the world, literally voted. And yeah, so if you're planning to come, come. That's ceonthebeach.com. Spell it just like it sounds, ceonthebeach.com. And if anybody wanting to come from this specific podcast, just use the code happiness 200, and you will get a $200 discount for registration. But do it quick, because even with July 15, there are only 15 seats left. So as soon as I made the announcement last week, 15 seats were gone
Oh
very
my
quickly.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
Happiness
Minal,
200.
happiness 200 is the $200 discount code. So come
Fabulous.
on in. We are going to be a lot of people. My sessions are small, so there will only be 30 to 40 people in each session, but we're probably going to be over 100 and 100 some people. But
Wow.
it'll be small groups, and see you there. But if you have any questions, if you anything, just send an email to info at minalsampat.com, and we'll make sure that we get you scheduled. And if you need free tips, happy to share.
You're amazing. You're amazing. I
Yeah,
love it.
thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so grateful to you. Thank you, thank you, and thank you for the shoe tip, that for me. I'm very excited about that. And before you leave us today, Manal, I do have to ask you the question I ask of every one of my guests. What is your definition of happiness?
um, to be able to do what I do and share it with others.
Mm, mm,
It's a simple thing, like shoes.
it is. It's amazing the value of connection and relationships and being able to support and share in those moments with one another. Huge, huge.
Well, I think so. And I think, and that's again going back to the marketing with shoes. So in my bio, and this happens every single time, in my bio, best-selling author, marketing strategist, published in Forbes 7 times, all this stuff. But they're always going to tell me about your shoes.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
And that's because it's connection, it's humanizing, it's what connects us all, because we all have shoes, right? we all
Mm,
we all kind of go through it. So my best ending tip to everybody listening to this is don't try too hard. It could be as
mm,
simple as just figuring out that small thing
mhm.
and just putting it on there, and you'll be surprised how easy people connect to you.
Fabulous. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for all that you do. And thank you to all of you for listening here today. And I hope that some of this beautiful advice and support from Minal has taken a little bit of a whew, sigh, a little deep breath, a little bit of stress off your shoulders when you think about marketing and just being yourself, which is amazing. And until next time, remember, when you feel good, that's when you do good. Bye bye.